shoes are you all wearing?
Well, I happen to be wearing some Stan Smith shoes. These are actually, uh,
That's quite on brand.
yeah, quite on brand. So I tend to wear those quite a bit.
Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Your Past. Today I'm really excited to talk to the man himself, Stan Smith, and director Danny Lee about the new documentary, Who is Stan Smith, which is coming to theaters on May 3rd, 2024. I'm going to talk to them right now. And while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. I'll spell a lot. Thank you. Awesome. So thanks so much for joining me today. I've got the man, the myth, the legend, the fashion icon, Stan Smith himself, and director Danny Lee talking about the new documentary, Who is Stan Smith, which is coming to theaters on May 3rd, 2024. It is an incredible true story about this larger than life figure that is also so humble and nice. It has some really great interviews, a wonderful sense of history, and as you'd expect from a Stan Smith documentary, a lot of shoes. I am very excited to talk to you. So thanks so much for joining me.
Nice
Um,
talking to you, David.
of course. So first off, like here you are. I've solved it. Who is Stan Smith? Right here. This is Stan Smith right here. I solved the documentary. I've got everything ready to go. I guess the first thing I should say is fight on. I love seeing that you were a Trojan, so that was nice to see also.
Good. Are you
And
an SC guy?
yeah, I am a USC guy. Went there for many, many, many years, and I'm glad to see that there were many greater people before me. So
Well, they've got a great film program there, don't they?
they
Cinema
do, they
program.
do.
Yeah.
So starting off, what shoes are you all wearing?
Well, I happen to be wearing some Stan Smith shoes. These are actually, uh,
That's quite on brand.
yeah, quite on brand. So I tend to wear those quite a bit.
Danny, what are you rocking?
I'm rocking some slides right now because I'm at my office and I'm comfortable.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So big question, like how did this project come about? I mean, this is a fascinating project, but Stan, I don't think it doesn't seem like you were probably out there like shopping this. How did you link up with Danny, and how did this kind of project come to existence? Because I'm glad it was made. It was a really great documentary, but I'd love to hear kind of the start of it.
Well, LeBron James and Maverick Carter started this company, and their production arm, uh, Camille, I think, was one that really was the first one, and Phil. But they looked at my book. Stan Smith. Some people think I'm a shoe, and they they liked it, and they wanted to delve into it further and start this documentary. And so I said, okay, well, go for it. And then we got a chance to meet some directors, and Danny was the man that my gut was that he could do the job. It was a difficult job because not a lot of footage available, certainly early footage. But Danny's been a great partner and now friend, and put the whole thing together.
No, that is awesome. And I'm curious. So, when you met, I don't know if you met LeBron, but if you did meet LeBron, did you exchange shoes? Because it must be interesting to have two people who have iconic shoes. Do you like exchange it? Is that part of like this
Yeah, no,
ritual?
we haven't gotten together. So hopefully he's got a pair of my shoes.
I,
I
I'm
don't
sure
have
he,
any.
I'm sure he does. So one thing I like to see, you got to revisit a lot of your life, Stan, and one of the places that you seemed to revisit was Wimbleton. What was it like, kind of revisiting these old places? I'm not sure if you'd been there in a while. What was it like, kind of re-stepping through your life for this documentary?
Well, it's always great to be at Wimbledon. I've actually been there every year since probably 65 or so. I've got this company called Stan Smith Events, and we help host clients at big events, at the major events. And so we've been at Wimbledon in that way. And then before that, I was actually playing the 35 and over division, and there's a 45 and over division. So I got to play until I was about 60.
Oh, wow.
And then they asked you to come, but don't bring your rackets. Anyway, so I've been to Wimbledon a lot, but it's when we did the shoot on the center court, it was a special moment because I recalled those critical times in some of the big matches I played there, which is very special. It's become even more special now because it's the only grass court event in the world. Before we played the U.S. Open and the Australian on grass as well as Wimbledon. as well as some other tournaments during the summer. But Wimbledon is special.
Yeah, I've never been. I can imagine it must be a wonderful place, and being able to see it like that, where it's empty, it must be just like it must be like a temple essentially, like a church almost, just kind of being in
It
awe of it.
is. They don't want you to step on the grass. Even me, I had my shoes on. And they didn't want me to step on the grass. It was.
Yeah, Stan got reprimanded. We were starting to shoot, and he 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 clearly walked past the keep off the grass sign. And but we did get the shot, and but they were obviously very kind to Stan. Stan was even getting access to Wimbledon, it was so seamless. When Stan Smith like makes the request, of course they were like, yes, there were no frills, no obstacles. The only obstacles were we were shooting during the pandemic, and Stan loves to recount this story, but coming from the States, going to the UK, I had to quarantine for 5 days and do prison workouts in a hotel room so I could actually shoot. So I was watching some crazy show in the UK, some where they reveal people naked from toes up or something. I was like, that was my reality for 5 days.
Uh, sounds like a good documentary there too. That could be an interesting story to tell.
Well, you got the exclusive. There it
There,
is.
there you go. Love it. So Danny, I was curious, like, Stan Smith's life is it's like unbelievable. If this was a movie and it was released, I would have probably reviewed it and been like, this, there's no way this was real. Like, this is just Hollywood, like going crazy, making this larger than life figure. Like, what was it like trying to pare that down into an hour and a half documentary and like, pick and choose important moments and important aspects of Stan's life when there's so much you could choose from?
It's a great question. I think the first thing is, and saying this with all due respect, like when I first started researching the story, it felt like Stan was sort of like this Forrest Gump character in tennis, much cooler. The only parallel is that he stumbled upon all these big world events, right? And I don't, it's less about choosing, it's more about understanding holistically what the film is, right? And it felt like the film, immediately to me, it came to me where it was about unpacking this mythology behind this name. I 99% of the people in this entire world has heard of the name Stan Smith, but very few understand the history behind it, all the humanitarian efforts he had done throughout the years. And for me, so that was the North Star, is unpacking the mystery. And so in laying out all the pieces on in the war room, which is like our, bulletin board with index cards of scenes and everything, it was overflowing. I mean, literally push pins everywhere. And it's hard when someone like Stan has won so many things. You could fall into a trap of it feeling episodic as a filmmaker. He won this, and then he won this, and then he won this, and then it becomes predictable. So for me, it was a very complex story to weave. You had to weave the A story, which is his tennis career, the B story, which is the sneaker story, which was this inanimate object, which had its own life that often was detethered from Stan's real life, right? In the film, you kind of see it takes this tangential journey and has a life of its own. And then the C story became very clear to me, which was this love story between Stan and Margie, this incredibly successful marriage over 50 years. So yeah, it was a challenging thing, but thankfully had a good team in post where we all sort of sat and figured it out.
Yeah, and I love that you bring up the shoes part because that was interesting to me is like the shoes are what a lot of people probably know Stan from, and they were in the documentary. But what surprised me most is just the shoes kind of they're at the start and they're kind of at the end, but the middle is just filled with these amazing non-shoe related moments and important aspects in history and in Stan's life. And it was interesting to kind of that the shoes were kind of what brought you, and then you kind of stayed for this a fascinating journey about this person who was both humble and amazing. So that was really interesting to me.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
So big important question: is there going to be a limited edition Stan Smith shoe for the movie? Is there going to be maybe like a Stan Smith on the right and a Danny Lee on the left?
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought about that, Danny. Which side do you want? You want the left or right?
I'll take whatever side you don't want. That is a great idea, man.
Just,
I'd
just,
be
just
so
make sure to
honored.
send me a pair. I'd love it. Yeah, you put my face on the sole on the bottom. I'll just be like like that.
Stella McCartney, I think, is on the left in a shoe that she did a collaboration with Adidas, and so she was on the left, I think, and I was on the right, and so
I'll
we
take
had
the
a.
left, Stan. I'll take the
You
left.
take the left? Okay.
All right, I look forward to that. So I know we have very limited time. I'm going to switch to a lightning round. They're just lightweight questions about the film. I want to see how your personal experiences map to the things in the film. Stan, I imagine your personal experiences map very closely to the film, but I try to keep them very answerable. You can feel free to pass on any of them. I won't be offended. First
Okay.
question. This is for Danny. Have you ever been number one at anything? It doesn't have to be in the world. It could be, number one in your block, number one in your family.
I'm the number 1 father of my 2 kids.
That is a great answer. That is a great answer. Hopefully
The
every
best.
father's the number one father, but I know sometimes it's hard.
I'm sorry.
That's the best.
So Stan, I loved, you clearly have a strong relationship with Adidas. I love like after that relationship became clear, noticing in the film like Adidas everything. Like I wore my Adidas jersey for you for this.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
like
have
that.
do you have non-Adidas clothing?
Not very much. My kids didn't know there was anything besides Adidas. They wore Adidas shorts and T-shirts to school for about the first 10 years, and no, I wear some other things, but generally, uh, Adidas has been good.
I mean, yeah, if you have a good relationship, you might as well kind of, they've treated you well. You might as well kind of reward that. And also, I assume that you get a lot of really cool free stuff from them. So,
We get some golf shoes now too, which are kind of cool.
oh, that's awesome. In the same style, like Stan Smith golf shoes.
Yeah, yeah. You look down, and some of them look just like the shoe, but the bottom has got these studs at the bottom, so they're comfortable and they don't slip.
That is awesome. And so the last question, so the Stan Smith shoes are kind of unique because they've got Stan's face on them. So this might be a tough question for you, Stan, but Stan and Danny, how many pictures of Stan do you have in your household?
Wait, how many pictures of what?
Pictures of Stan, because the shoes have a picture of Stan on them, so that would count. And then any other pictures of Stan you have in your household. Stan, you probably have millions, I imagine.
What a question.
I mean, in my house, I have those shoes. I do love Stan to death. I would put a framed photo of him in the foyer, but I don't have one. So
Depends about how many bathrooms he has at the house. You put one right above each of the.
Just giving encouragement. Well, Danny, when the new Stan Smith cross Danny Lee collaboration comes out, you can have a couple more pictures there too. So just we'll wait for that.
I'll give you, David. I'll give you an exclusive. I just did a video with Jesse Pagula, and it's promoting a new shoe called the Bella Stan, and it's a cycling shoe,
Oh,
and it's got a little bit thicker sole, and it's got a clip on the bottom that goes onto the bike.
that's awesome. I love that.
That's what came out with.
I love that it's expanding, and I imagine you're probably using them as well while you're cycling. So I love that your line is expanding and your legacy is kind of living on and growing beyond just tennis. That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you for the exclusive, and thank you for your time. I know you're very busy. The movie is Who is Stan Smith? It's coming to theaters on May 3rd, 2024. It is just a fascinating documentary that has a ton of great history, some really interesting, cameos and interviews, and lots of Stan Smith. It tells his incredible life story. This is the man himself, Stan Smith, and director Danny Lee. Thank you so much for your time.
thanks, Dave.
Thanks, David.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, David. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye. That was Stan Smith and Danny Lee talking about Who is Stan Smith, which is coming to theaters on May 3rd, 2024. It is an incredible true story about a kind of larger than life figure that is also just so humble and like likable. It has a ton of tennis action. It has a ton of really great history, wonderful cameos, and a lot of shoes you expect from the man behind the Stan Smith shoes. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.